Have you ever heard of a sushi bake?
Yes.
Ever wonder what one tastes like?
Yes.
If you answer yes to both of these questions, I'm going to show you how to make one. Hi, my name is Christina Howard, and welcome to my kitchen. For the purpose of this speech, I'll be demonstrating how to make a sushi bake. I'll be discussing the ingredients for the sushi bake, step-by-step instructions on how to prepare a sushi bake, and how to plate and present your sushi bake. Once you have all those three things, then you can move on to the next step, ingredients. Let's discuss the first ingredient needed to prepare the sushi bake. The main ingredient needed is rice. For this preparation, I'll be using sushi rice. Sushi rice, or as you may know it, sticky rice, is perfect for this recipe because of its glutinous texture when cooked. Sticky rice has been growing for at least 4,000 years in Southeast Asia. The next thing you'll need for this recipe is salmon and imitation crab meat. It should look something like this if you purchase it from any local grocery. Salmon and crab meat will give the bake sustainability and protein. Now that we've discussed ingredients, let's dive into step-by-step instructions. First thing you'll need to create the bake is to prepare the rice. In preparation of the rice, you must first wash the rice. We're going to do that now. Do you guys know how to prepare rice?
No.
Did you know that rice, when cooked, is a 1-to-1 ratio? So if you put 1 cup of rice, you need 1 cup of water. If you put 2 cups of rice, you put 2 cups of water.
Oh.
So we're gonna add a little more water, just because I like my rice a little more on the stickier side. But you can add as much or as little to your discretion. Okay? Now, we're gonna wash it. You just swirl it around a couple of times till you see it not look so cloudy. We're gonna get rid of that. And then we'll wash it again. By the third time, it should be good to go. So at this point, we're gonna get our 3 cups of water and add it to our rice. And we'll begin to boil the rice for about 10 minutes. All right. Put that over here. Turn our burner on. And did you guys know that if the water starts boiling and you feel like it's gonna boil over, if you add a wooden spoon to the top, that will prevent it from boiling over.
Wow, I didn't.
So, we'll let this boil, but your rice should look like this when it's done. Again, 10 to 15 minutes. Once it's finished, we're gonna add rice wine vinegar. Okay? So once it gets done, we'll add a little bit of that and we'll mix it and set it to the side, and we'll start on our seafood mixture. So we'll mix that. And this is the consistency that you want when you're preparing rice. Again, this is why it's called sticky rice. We don't want to call it dry rice. That looks like the bag. Okay? All right. So you are going to want to shred your imitation crab meat with 2 forks. Okay? We added some into the bowl as well already. Gonna move our green onions out of the way. 2 forks, and you just want to shred it. You could also chop this up with a knife, but for this, we want it to be a little flaky, like actual crab meat. We're not gonna purchase that in this economy. So, you know, crab meat is gonna be probably, well, depending on the package you get, anywhere from $1 to $3. This pack was $3 at my local grocer. Now, you can add as little or as much as you like. It really just depends on your taste buds and, you know, what have you. So we'll shred that like so. And I guess the finer you want it, the more you'll shred it. If you want it a little on the chunkier side, then, you know, you won't shred it less. Okay? So it should look something like this when you're done. Okay? We're actually going to add in now our salmon. Now, your salmon, you want to season as needed. You can put as much or as little as you would love, or not as much as if you wouldn't love. I actually already prepared a piece of salmon. You pop this in your air fryer for 10 to 12 minutes on 400. If you don't have an air fryer, you can put it in the convection oven. You will want to put your oven on 425, and you would want to leave it in for about 15 minutes. But we're going to use this from an air fryer. We're going to pop this piece of salmon into our bowl with our imitation crab meat, and we'll shred that as well together. We're also going to add in some Kewpie mayo. Have you guys heard of Kewpie mayo?
No, I haven't.
Do you know where you can get Kewpie mayo?
No, I don't. Please tell us.
If you have a Korean market anywhere near you, they sell Kewpie mayo. But if you also are able to get to Kroger, Kroger sells Kewpie mayo as well in the Asian section. You will want to use this Kewpie mayo instead of regular mayo, just because it has a more rich flavor because of the egg yolk that they put into it. So we're going to add some Kewpie mayo and some sriracha. Now, you can add as little or as less if you want. You add more if you want more heat. You add less if you don't want as much spice. You could also add, I have sriracha mayo. If you want that, that's basically these two mixed together. Or we have Korean hot sauce. It's really just up to you and what you prefer. So we're gonna add about, I eyeball it, or put as much until my ancestors tell me to stop. So that looks about good to me. I'm also gonna add probably a little more sriracha just because my family doesn't mind spice. So your mixture should look something like this before you stir it together, okay? We're gonna do like that. And we'll put this fork to the side. Get off our green onions. Okay, and then you wanna mix it up, and it should look something like this once you're finished, okay? And this is how you would prepare your seafood mixture for your sushi bake. All right? Now, you can decide if this is little, you need more flavor, you need less flavor, you know, what have you. I'm actually going to confer with my audience to see what they think. Okay. And no, we're not going to use the same fork after they do. Okay. What do you think, ma'am?
That's good.
Okay. All right. So, again, we'll season our salmon, and we're gonna pop ours into our air fryer. I'm gonna use a little bit of onion powder. Now, it's up to you whether you want to season both sides. I think one side is fine. I'm gonna use a little bit of garlic powder. Some seasoned salt. And some Total seasoning. Lawry's makes a great brand. There is another brand that's escaping me right now. They make a good brand. But we're going to use the Lawry's kind for this demonstration today. So we're going to season that. And then we're going to put it into our air fryer here on 400, again, for 10 to 12 minutes. All right. Come on, air fryer. 400 and we'll do 11 minutes. We'll keep it kind of in between, okay? So then our rice is boiling. So then our next step on what we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We've already done that earlier, so our oven should be nice and hot when we go to put our bake in the oven. So you wanna place your sushi rice into a non-stick pan. It could be glass, it could be ceramic, whatever you have. I'm actually gonna do 2 separate bakes for my family, but I'll demonstrate on one. So we're gonna use this ceramic baking dish. We have our sushi rice already cooked and we added our rice wine vinegar already. So we're gonna put it into our non-stick pan and we're gonna flatten it out, okay? Make sure you flatten it out. Sometimes the rice so sticky it don't wanna come out. We're gonna get our rice out there, okay? And we're gonna flatten out, just like so. Flatten out our rice, okay? We're gonna flatten that out. Now we're gonna add something that's called furikake, or most people like to call it rice seasoning. It's basically just some flavor for your rice. I actually purchased the wasabi kind from my Korean market. And we're just gonna sprinkle that on the top to give our bake some flavor, okay? I'm gonna sprinkle that on like so. All right, we're gonna do both of these, okay? So it should look like this. Like I said, you can add it to your discretion. You can add as much or as little as you like. If you don't want to use furikake, you can also crumble up some seaweed or nori and sprinkle that on top of your rice as well, okay? So after we add our furikake on top of our rice, we're gonna add our seafood mixture, okay? So from that, you wanna add the seafood mixture on top and you wanna spread it out over your rice. Spread. Okay. Just like so. We're gonna use all of this. Okay. Spread out. Okay. Now after we're done with that, we're gonna place it in the oven on 200 to allow the flavors to marry. Now, you can add toppings onto the top of this. We're actually gonna drizzle a little sriracha and some sriracha mayo. And then when it gets done, we can taste test and decide if we wanna add something extra. Now, you can dollop, you can drizzle. We're gonna just do a little one of these things. We're gonna drizzle some sriracha mayo. We're gonna drizzle some sriracha. Hopefully this works with me and it comes out. Okay. So by this point, it should look something like this, okay? Okay, I'm gonna show you guys. It should look something like this, okay? All right. Now, how do you guys like black sesame seeds? Would you prefer regular sesame seeds? You can use whichever you want. You can toast some and it'll bring out the nuttiness in the sesame seed. I'm gonna sprinkle a little on the top, okay? I'm gonna sprinkle some black sesame seeds, like so. And then it kind of is basically the origin of the sushi without it being wrapped in nori, okay? So then, once we have this and it looks like this, you're gonna place this in the oven for up to 20 minutes. It's really up to you. If you want it a little more crispier in the top, you can also put it on broil and leave that on for a couple of seconds. So we're gonna pop this into the oven. And while we wait for that to cook, I'm gonna take questions from the audience. So, do you guys have any questions about anything that we discussed so far?
I have a question.
Sure.
Say, for example, I'm a vegan. What vegan options do you have for me?
Well, actually, you can use hearts of palm. They're used in very many dishes as a seafood substitute. It can shred just like we use the imitation crab meat. You can also use king mushroom, oyster mushrooms. Those work as well. If you want to go a little more on the expensive side, there are competitors that make vegan seafood brands, and you can purchase those online as well and use those in this recipe. Any more questions? No more questions?
I have another question.
Sure.
Say, for example, I'm not more on the spicy type. Is there any way I could use something a little sweeter?
Sure. You can actually use just the regular QP mayo. You can add a little bit of sugar to that to make it a little sweeter, and then you could just apply that into a squeeze bottle and squeeze it on the top. You don't have to use a squeeze bottle. It's just more better. It looks better. It doesn't make it taste any different. All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
If I don't like the texture of sesame seeds, is there anything I can use to like in place of that?
I will answer that question when we move on to our next topic, which is plating and presentation. So once your bake is cooked and cooled, you may now begin the plating process. Okay? But no need to get crabby. We're almost done with this bake because now it's time to plate. Pick a plate that will elevate your dish. Something that'll enhance it and bring out its beauty naturally. Get creative with your plate presentation. You know, you can add some furikake to the plate. You can add some sriracha mayo and dollops. I mean, they say we eat with our eyes first. So create something on a plate that you would be happy to eat. Okay? So we're gonna actually start to plate. I'm gonna pop this out of the oven. Again, you can also decide to put it on broil to get it a little bit crispy. It really just depends on what your taste buds allow. We're gonna cut off our oven. We're gonna take it out. And we're actually gonna chop some green onion and apply that to the top as garnish. Put this in the sink. Okay. Check out my nice little magnetic knife holder. Amazon. Alright, so we're gonna chop up our green onions here. No rhyme or reason. Really just depends on what you have going on or how you want it done. Okay. We'll get rid of those pieces. Alright. So we have our green onions chopped. I don't know where this stuff is at in my house. Alright, we're going to use a small plate. Alright, we're going to scoop out some of our bake here. But first we're going to decorate the plate. We'll use this spoon. Do you like sriracha or would you prefer sriracha mayo?
Sriracha.
Sriracha?
Okay.
I'm going to grab some sriracha here. Oh, wait. We'll just continue on with the little dot pattern. Make it look a little pretty. Okay? And then we'll scoop some of our bake here. Put that down for a second. And we'll apply it to our plate. So to look something like this, you'll sprinkle on some green onions for color. Taste to. Alright? And then a finished product will look something like this.
Whoa.
Now, do you know what goes best with sushi bake?
What?
Nori. Nori is preferred for this type of recipe because it adds texture and it also adds flavor. So I'll give you this pack of nori,
Thank you.
and all you have to do is just scoop some of the bake onto the nori and you eat it in one bite. Again, it's just like sushi but just not inside of the wrap. So to sum it up, the key things you'll need to create your very own sushi bake is the right ingredients, detailed instructions, and creative plating. Now that you have the guide to this delicious recipe and the wise words of French chef Paul Buscos, bon appetit. Thank you.